Good evening and welcome to our Connection Zoom. We're so excited to have two of our friends sharing testimonies tonight. We're going to start with Kathy McCurry and we'll finish up with Sadie Hershewe. And we are so excited to hear their stories. So Kathy, I'm going to put you in the view here.
Boy.
There you go. And take it away, friend.
Okay, so 22 years ago, I delivered my fifth child and my first one by an emergency C-section. And I'll never forget the words that the doctor said to me as he leaned over me, and he was a great friend of mine. And he looked at me and he says, Kathy, he says, you have a beautiful baby girl. She weighs 6 pounds. She is 20 inches long and she has Down syndrome. And so that was, we did not expect that. And when I had my sonogram at 20 weeks, I specifically asked, because I was 40 years old, if they could tell if my child had Down syndrome. And so they did all the tests and the report came back that said that there was no signs of any abnormalities. So we kind of took we went on, and I had girls in college and everything and stuff, but everybody was still excited about this baby. And all my kids were there, and Donna and them were there too, waiting and supporting me. And so it ended up being quite an interesting day. And a lot of people were there for support for my other kids and stuff, but they weren't worried at all about this baby. They were worried about me, But anyway, so we're a very faithful family. We're very close. So having a child with Down syndrome did not matter a bit, but having a Down syndrome child with different, not knowing what her medical different situations that might occur throughout her life. But we were very, very lucky because that sign did say that there was no signs of any abnormalities. She wasn't born with any health issues. So she didn't have heart problems like most of the kids do. She was in the NICU unit for 6 days, but that was just only precautionary. I told them, I said, I nursed all my other kids. I'm going to nurse her. And they said, it's going to be difficult. She has weak muscles. I said, I don't care. I'm going to do it. And I nursed her for 21 months. So anyway, throughout her life, she wasn't ever sick. She very seldom had colds. She didn't have to be hospitalized or anything like that. But by the time she started getting about 8 years old, well, even some when she was little, but by the time she was 8, she was severely constipated and in pain. And even as a baby, she didn't cry. Okay. She didn't cry and scream like some babies did. She only had tears. And so I had to be very aware when she was awake, because she didn't cry to let me know and stuff. So I knew when these tears were coming and that when she was crying, that she was in a lot of pain. And so I would take her to the doctor and they would tell me to give her Miralax and give her, more Miralax and stuff like that. Well, we did that before a long time, and we'd end up in an emergency room. And I was so scared that she was have a really bad blockage, and I knew we were going to face this surgery for a blockage and stuff, and it just scared me to death. And she would even be in the corner of the emergency room, kind of curled up in a ball and just, crying. And my husband was sitting there like, oh my gosh, somebody's got to do something, And so they would do x-rays and stuff and see that she was constipated, and they'd tell me to give her more Miralax. So after about 4 trips to the emergency room, some locally and some we were sent to Children's Mercy some. When we went to Children's Mercy, they said, well, we know what we can do for her. It's an old-fashioned thing. We're going to give her an enema with molasses. And they did. And we were in a triage for 3 hours before they even saw her while she was crying in pain and stuff like that. So they did the molasses enema. And right when they did it, Larry got a phone call from McDonald's and had to leave the room. And while he was gone, this disaster occurred. That was very sad for her and for me and for everybody. And it was just a terrible mess to have to clean up. And I said, no more. I said, we've got to do something different. And I've been watching Jody post about plexus and about gut health and stuff. And I told my husband, I said, we're going to try this. We've got to do something for her, something different. And he agreed. And so anyway, Jody and Sadie came to my house, and Donna was there and talked to us about it. And I said, we're doing it. And we decided we were all three going to do it together. So Larry and I signed up, but I signed up to get product for her because she wasn't 18, at that point. And from that point on, with giving her the triplex, especially the BioCleanse, we never saw another emergency room visit. We never did Miralax again. And the last 4 years, because she went to the school here with her peers and stuff like that, the last 4 years of school, she never missed one day of school for illness. The only day of school she missed was for a well checkup. You know, she graduated with her friends and stuff. We've still never seen emergency room visit. She's on one type of medication, and that's Synthroid for thyroid, nothing else. So it's like you can listen to a doctor and you can be guided by a doctor. And I don't have anything against doctors at all. I know we all don't, but we have to be advocates for our kids. So we have to, you know, we have to know. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Kathy,
Mhm.
the way you advocated for her and you had enough, it just, I mean, I have worked with children with special needs like half my adult life, and I just can't tell you, that just melts me. I'm so happy for her, happy for you.
Well, and I feel like it's something, you know, I try to talk to other people who have children with special needs, and they're so scared to try something different. They only want to do what the doctor tells them. And I'm like, I just want to beat my head against the wall sometimes and tell them, you know, you just really have to try something different sometimes. So anyway, thank you.
Well, it's funny because now that I'm reading the ingredients, because Mason's 24 now or whatever. And, you know, I just wish, I remember having to go buy 5-HTP and special fish oil because he gagged, and it had to be lemon flavored, all kinds of stuff. And it was so expensive. If I would have known about Plexus when he was 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, it would have made our lives so much easier. And then going through, you know, the hormonal stage too. It's just the whole system helps with so many things. Like there's a dominant issue with him, and with Olivia, there was a dominant problem, but you know, I wonder how many more things it has prevented for Olivia. You know, that's amazing.
That's another thing I meant to say, that so, and I don't know why, but Larry and I and Olivia have not got COVID at all, ever. We've traveled out of the country several times. We've probably been on an airplane 10 times since COVID. We had all of our family Christmases, all of our family get-togethers. And I tell people, I said, I can't promise you that it was Plexus, but I can tell you it kept our immune system as strong as it can be. And I don't know why we didn't get it, but we have never had it. So
That's impressive. It's impressive. Just, you know, I love Olivia's story. I love her story. And I know it can help so many people. Kathy is so great about, you know, being willing to share her testimony with others. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask Kathy questions about this, because her heart is to help anyone with, you know, these kinds of issues. So
please do.
For sure. So, all right. Thank you so much for sharing. If anybody has questions, feel free. We can talk more after Sadie's testimony, but Sadie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, well then I'll switch over to you.
I feel bad. I feel like everybody here, besides Lisa, has heard my testimony. So I'm talking to you, girl. I'm kidding. You guys, so you know, my testimony started, I think, in youth. Okay. I mean, really, because I'm the daughter of a nurse who loved her some antibiotics. Okay. And maybe you grew up in the 80s or before or after, I don't know. I can only speak for the 80s, but I mean, I would ask for the one I wanted because it tasted good. You know, I mean, like, this is what we're talking about. So we've been building this nasty, gross autoimmune testimony for a long time. And you guys, I never pooped. Like, seriously, my world revolved around if I could, when I could, how I could, my whole life. I've never even said this out loud, so why not do it when we're recording? But I would have blood sometimes because of, like, it's called a fissure. I know that this makes me sound very gross, maybe, I don't really know, but that's what it is. It's basically tears in your butt. And so you see blood and these things. So I was having these issues with constipation my whole life. So fast forward to adulthood, nothing changed. And I think I realized that I've had anxiety, but I didn't know it was called anxiety. I just didn't know. So I was living with it. I was a high functioning, anxious person and whatever. But plexus enters in when so I had my first baby. It was great, but I was exhausted. But then I'm like, well, maybe I'm just like, this is what they always talk about. You're the new mom thing, the tired thing. But it was like beyond. Well, I breastfed and then exclusively pumped. Okay. But then did that. And then toward the end of the year, it was kind of done. And, but then by February, I never got my period back. And so that's where this thyroid issue was discovered. Okay. I honestly do feel like I had a thyroid issue from forever. Okay. I had mono. I believe there was a connection of Epstein-Barr virus and thyroid issues. We're not discussing that too much. But anyway, so I'm diagnosed with hypothyroidism. And, my nurse practitioner said, you have low thyroid. Did you know that? Like, well, I've been going to your office and you've been looking at my blood. We're like, no, if you didn't know, how do I know? Just the beginning of a series of unfortunate medical events that would cause me to rebel so wholeheartedly against the medical community, just being honest. So anyway, get on thyroid medication because all I wanted was another baby. Like, cause that, you just churn them out. Like you get the one, and then you go to two, and you guys get it, right? All those things that society tells us. And I was just in the machine. But really where the wheels fell off, and I have to credit that second pregnancy to really bringing out, kind of dusting off the demons inside of my body. And I realized after Samantha was born, series of medical things that, I basically diagnosed myself actually with autoimmunity, Hashimoto's. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but 99% of low thyroid cases are autoimmune. I hate to be the one to break it to you. If you've not been tested for your antibodies, highly recommend it. Really it just, the way that I was treated throughout this process really led me to, number one, get really mad. Okay. I don't love anger. It's not something that it really works for me, but maybe it does. Cause it kind of stirs some shit up. Right. So I got really mad, and, my endocrinologist, she basically told me, like, who cares if you have autoimmunity? It doesn't matter. I'm like, well, I kind of think it does, but okay. So I'm not going to ever see you again. Next. My OB really mismanaged my thyroid. That was the beginning of it. That's what really kind of, the wheels just fell off. Okay. Throughout that whole pregnancy. But the best part was that I joined this baby group, and on Baby Center, and you're like, in there with your people that your kids are going to be an August baby, and you're talking to these people, and they're like, well, let's go to Facebook. We're like, yeah, let's go to Facebook. So then we go to Facebook, and we're like in there. And then all of a sudden, sometimes we friend requested each other outside the group. Jana did it to me, or I did it to Jana. This is who eventually ends up being my sponsor. But I see her talking right when all this is going on. I see her talking on our Facebook wall about autoimmunity. Well, I'm a skeptic, but I'm an impulse buyer. So bad combo, good combo, not really sure. But for this, it really worked out for me. And she says autoimmunity, and I'm like, yes, I know it. Candida. Yep. All the things, right? All the ones that we post about, like, you got this, you got this. I was like, check. And so I did it. And I started to feel better. You guys, I was addicted to caffeine. I was like totally obsessed with caffeine, like buying cases of energy drinks off of Amazon. Okay. Before the Prime deal was going on. Prime was not a thing. I was a Prime person before Prime was a Prime. Okay. And I was just obsessed with it. And I just could not get enough energy. I just could not. And I was just depressed. But I'm like, in my head, I'm like, but you're not a depressed person. So like, what's going on, you know? And so if you didn't know this, your thyroid runs literally every cell in your body. And my computer is about to die. So this could get really interesting, but I'm going to walk you in here, try to find the plug. So your thyroid runs every cell in your body, which is makes it responsible for your anxiety, your depression, your motility in your gut, you know, everything, the way that your body absorbs everything, the way that your cells work, the way that your heart works, every single thing. So when people have thyroid issues, typically what you'll find is that there's a lot of other problems that go with it. Maybe they are more predestined to a stroke. Maybe they are more predestined to heart attack if they're not giving their body nutrients. And so it became something that I have been very, very passionate about. But the whole point of this was that I got my computer plugged in and it started working. I wasn't addicted to sugar anymore. Okay. And I was a fake sugar girl. So I was like an 80s girl. So it was like the fat-free cheese and the Splenda era. You feel me? So it wasn't good. Okay. Already constipated, already just bad. Okay. All of it's bad. Forget it. Fiber didn't work on me. It would just build up. Miralax was not strong enough for me. Okay. If that tells you how significant the situation was over here. But Jana changed my life by posting about that. And I was miserable enough to be ready. And so the reason that I started sharing after I started getting more energy, after I got off of my sugar addiction, after I started going to the bathroom, I started to really research why. I'm a why girl. I don't know if you're a why person, but I wanted to understand why. And I'm also kind of an entrepreneurial spirit and an opportunist. And I start to research all of the ingredients of the ProBio 5. And I see that every single ingredient of the ProBio 5 is not only intentionally placed into that probiotic, but it is so special and important that it will heal most of the gut issues in the United States. And I can't cite any resources for you right now, but I can guarantee you that I was rock solid in my belief of this when I started to build a business. And so this isn't about a business, but this is about how you can use your story and you can use your despair and you can use just being just sad. And you guys, I really didn't have a marriage where I could talk about how I felt. I wasn't in a relationship where I could be in any way imperfect. And so it just kept festering inside. And so really, when I found this community of Plexus, I found these people, not sick people, right? I didn't, that's not what I was looking for, but I found people who also wanted to be healthy, who also wanted more, who also needed something to change in their lives. And so I just came alive when I was able to not only find these products, but share these products, go to places like Brookfield and go to places like the Lake of the Ozarks many years later. But because we get the opportunity to take all the bad, nasty health stuff that happened for us, because really it mostly starts with health with us, right? That's usually where it starts. I want to feel better. I don't want to be bloated. I want to lose weight. I want to heal this or that. And then it turns into more, because when you heal that person that's a little bit broken, you get to turn around and you get to like fan out your beautiful example and your ripple so that other people don't suffer as long as they might. And people get to learn how limitless they are. And we get to show people that there are options and that medical doctors, just like Kathy said, I am not in any way begrudging the medical community, but if you want to know what a medical rebel looks like, it's right here. I finally just started going to the doctor again. Okay. Because it's my sorority sister and she lets me do what I want. I'm just being honest. Okay. Because I have been mistreated and there are so many people just like me out there. Okay. That either are too just hanging on every word of the medical community and it's not serving them, or they're just non-trusting of anything because they feel like if my doctor can't fix it, what? Right? And we get to show up in strength and empowerment and let them know that there is an answer. They don't have to feel depressed. They don't have to like not poop. They don't have to look like they're 6 months pregnant after they eat a sandwich. Okay. They don't have to bloat up. They don't have to, have low energy and weird blood sugar issues and blood pressure issues and all the things, right? You guys know, you do it every day. So anyway, that's my testimony. And I just want to say that if you're watching this, I know I kind of transitioned into why I'm so passionate about this, but I would recommend Triplex plus X Factor Plus. And after 2 to 3 months, we would talk to you about dietary iodine. And that is going to literally change everything. And if you're watching this, and even if you don't have a thyroid issue and you really, really want to do something great for your female reproductive health, your breast health, and your overall immunity, you will also purchase iodine drops. Sorry, I don't make any money by saying that, but that's how passionate I am. So that's it.
I love that. It's so true. I have iodine drops as well. So yes, it's true. Thank you for sharing that testimony. Does anyone have questions about her autoimmune journey? Because a lot of us do have autoimmune issues that we deal with.
I think it might already be deleted, but if you want to learn a little bit more about autoimmunity, I did do I don't know if it was already deleted, but in our team page, I talk about why the triplex is really what we need for autoimmunity. And it's good information to just watch and take notes and share with people who are feeling like discouraged.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm happy to talk to anybody. I know that Jody would be happy to as well, or any of you guys. Like we're not,
Yeah.
We've just been having the talk along a little touch longer. So
Mm-hmm. For sure. Because there is definitely, when I first started, and I also have thyroid issues, I was so overwhelmed with not finding answers that were working for me. And I really had to learn to become an advocate for myself. And that is really what this is about, guys, is helping others learn how to do the same thing. Helping them learn how to become an advocate, that it's okay to, not agree with everything a doctor says and, challenge it or ask more questions or do your own research. Those are okay things to do. And once I figured that out, a whole world opened up for me of, there were a couple doctors that I had to just decide that they weren't the doctors for me. But now I have a great endocrinologist that actually listens to me and, will talk to me about things, and you'll find them, but you have to be willing to be an advocate for yourself. And that's what we want to teach our people how to do.
well, and just, I know you guys know this, sorry, Jody, I just want to, but just really educating your people too, that sometimes your doctor will reject things because they do not know about nutrition. They do not focus on gut healing or gut health. It doesn't mean that we cannot fault them. They're not trained in that. Okay. So that's like separate learning they have to do. I mentioned my Dr. Lauren, Dr. Mitchell. She has tabs and tabs and tabs open of just natural health topics that she reads when no one is in her clinic. And I think she's an anomaly, but she's still a medical doctor. Like sometimes she'll say things and I'm like, not really for me, but like, it's just with all respect, and just letting people know too, that it's okay. And if they do challenge their doctor, just like Jody said, that they can advocate, but they can also, they have choices.
Mhm. Yep.
They have choices, and there will be a doctor that will support just those questions. Sometimes they won't. You guys have all probably been around a practitioner like that, but I think more than ever, I think a lot of doctors are coming on board, and I think that that's really neat. So.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And my doctor actually said that there is no, and they may have changed now, but that they didn't have classes on supplements. They
Right.
did not do things like that. And so anything that they've learned has had to be stuff that they've learned on their own. And so, that may have changed now. I mean, because, he's in his 40s, he's around my age, but, he just was saying to me that anything that we talk about with supplements is stuff that I've had to do my own research on. We're just, as medical doctors, are not trained on that kind of stuff. So if a doctor looks at Plexus ingredients, if you take them into them and they just kind of brush it off, it's because they probably don't know. They don't really know, and they're not gonna give their okay on something they're not real familiar with. So just know that it's not necessarily they're not good. It's just, they don't know. And just know that, so that's another thing I wanted to mention. So.
And can I say something really quick? I'm going to sound like I'm very cynical about the medical profession. I have very great friends who are physicians, oncologists, all kinds of things. But supplements and natural healing and holistic things do not, you guys, I'm going to sound horrible, do not pay out with prescriptions and things like that. They are trained to, they have people coming in their office every day trying to push different, prescriptions on people. So, they might not, money, what do I want to say? Money talks.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I'm saying it.
Yeah,
I mean, money talks, and
you're
we just have to take care of ourselves because
They're monetized.
Yeah.
By different companies. And
yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody here is saying, we all know that you need an antibiotic when you get strep throat. You need things. I mean,
please take an antibiotic when you get strep throat.
Yeah.
Because
we all know.
In a relationship with somebody who's had 2 heart attacks by not doing that. I'm being dead serious. Please do it. Love you. I hate antibiotics. Next. Sorry.
Yes, but it is important, and there is a place. And so that's why we would never advocate you to not do that, but or take medication when needed. But so we're not advocating that, but we're advocating for we're encouraging you to be an advocate for yourself and what feels good for you in your health journey. And that's what we're advocating. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions for Kathy or Sadie before we jump off? And I can stop recording. So if anybody wants to, I'm going to stop real quick.